Welcome back to Unlocked Evangel University Athletics, the podcast where we go beyond the highlights and dive into the real stories behind the games. I'm your host, Harrison Miller, and we're here all about unlocking what it truly means to be a student athlete. In today's episode, we're featuring Isaiah Schott. We'll talk about what first drew him to the game of football and what's kept him going, some of the biggest challenges he's faced on the field, and the moments he's most proud of in his career thus far. Welcome, Isaiah.
All right, we'll kick it off with what first got you into football and why did you stick with it?
Okay. Yeah, so for me, I had quite the unique football journey. It was not your typical guy that's been playing since like elementary. I actually didn't start till kind of late in the game. I started actually sophomore year of high school is when I first started.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What's been one of the biggest on-field challenges and how did you overcome it?
I would say probably the biggest on-field challenge would be I've had a lot of injuries and actually three knee surgeries to be exact. And you have to constantly have that mindset of you're going to plow through it and eventually you'll get it done.
Can you describe a moment in your career that you're most proud of?
I would say in terms of a moment I'm most proud of would be my junior year here at Evangel was the first game I got to play in. It was my first collegiate game, and I got to get in and get a couple kicks in, and that meant a lot to me because heading up to that moment, I had my first two surgeries before that, and there was a lot of self-doubt wondering if that moment would ever come. But when that moment happened, it was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. And then who influenced you most on your football journey? And who are the key figures that shaped, or who influenced you and who are the key figures a part of your story? Could be parents, coaches, anybody along those lines.
Yeah, I'd say definitely my dad. My dad, he played D2 football in Pennsylvania, and I always kind of wanted to be like him. I always thought I could play collegiate sports too. And he was, when I first started to learn how to kick, he was very helpful and always constantly there to help learn with me because I was converting from soccer to learning how to kick a football. And he also had a soccer background before he started playing football, so he kind of knew what it was like to kick a soccer ball and how different it was to kick a football. But he also didn't know how to kick a football because he was a lineman, so it was a little bit different. But he was always there to help me learn and was willing to learn with me. And I would say he's probably the most influential football-wise.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so once you got to Evangel, who were the coaches that hit the hardest in terms of fundamentals? They're like, it's my way or the highway, you're doing this the right way, or you're off the team?
I would say definitely, you could ask anyone, that's definitely Coach Hebb. He's very much, it's his way or there's no way at all. He knows how he wants his program run, and he does a good job at it, just getting everyone on the same page.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some of the unseen aspects of training camp that fans don't usually see? Are there any like unique traditions that nobody knows about?
So like, are you talking just in terms of just things they wouldn't know, or just are you referring specifically to traditions?
I guess traditions.
Okay. I would say traditions. We have like a lot of just like random little things. Like when we're in warm-ups, before we do our warm-ups, they have this thing where we all put our hands up in the air and then yell bone. It's like a
Yell what?
bone. Oh yeah. It's like a tradition that started here like a while back. It means Brotherhood of New Evangel. And it's just a little tribute they have to other Evangel teams. And then I guess also too, every year we have right after the end of our fall camp, we have this thing called the Originals meal, and a bunch of the guys from the original Evangel teams will come and do a barbecue with us, and it's kind of a fun little time. Very cool. Yeah, that's another cool tradition thing we have.
And then, so as you said with injuries, your role must have shifted a lot season to season. What kind of hats have you put on in terms like in the locker room or with the coaches? What way have you pushed your influence the most?
I would say I've always tried to be there for my other teammates because I know what they're going through too, and I try to be there and be a support, especially to the other people in the special teams room, because I know how much of a mental game it is, and a lot of the times when you're not out there, you can easily pick up when someone's getting in their head. So a lot of times if I see someone getting in their head, I'll go up to them and just kind of be like, hey, chill out. Just let's not think about those kicks that were bad. Let's focus on what we're going to do to make the next one go through, and just stuff like that.
I guess that kind of plays in what was the one moment where you had to step up in leadership that you clearly remember and you felt like, oh, that was my moment. I nailed it there.
I guess I would just say, at the beginning of this year, actually, probably is what I would say. So I was hurt, and it was in the middle of, a kicking battle. So people were trying to figure out who the starter was going to be. And, there was one day everyone had a really rough day, and I just I made sure to go up to each one of them individually and just be like, hey, it's okay. You've got more days to prove yourself. Let's just put today in the past. I guess that would be one I could think of in particular.
Are there any other ways you try to build chemistry with your teammates? Or I guess what's more the fun or looser side of things that you try connecting with people on?
I guess just hanging out. And then I've had a lot of classes with some of these guys too. So you get to know them in the classroom. Maybe make jokes back and forth in class. Even if maybe probably shouldn't be doing that, but.
Are there any like video game tournaments or like things that the fans won't know about?
I mean, one time me and so for those of you that don't know, football has a lot of meetings, but with us being special teamers, there are a lot of meetings that we also only have to go to like the first 5 minutes of just for the sake of attendance purposes. So there were a lot of times that we would go to the first 5 minutes of the meeting, be dismissed, and then we'd be like, okay, what game we hopping on? The one time I could remember specifically though was we were playing we got on Fortnite and got on a creative map, and we were playing it's called Prop Hunt. And we got like a big lobby of people together, and then what was really funny was we had other people that we were just friends with on the game that joined in too. We ended up getting like a lobby of like 15-20 people together. That was one I could think of specifically. It was pretty fun.
And in what ways does teamwork, what does it mean to you personally?
For me, it's very important because it's football can be a grind. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes into it between morning weights and having all the meetings and practices and having your weekends taken up with games. And a lot of it, I think a lot of the teamwork aspect is it just reminds you that you're doing it not just for yourself, like everyone else has to do it too. And it's a good motivator, just being part of a team.
And in what ways do you guys deal with conflict or the difference in personalities on the team?
I guess I would say there are obviously a lot of people with very different backgrounds, and I mean sometimes some people overreact to a situation that others may not, and I guess it's just something you have to be conscious of sometimes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I guess we're in the off season now, so it looks a lot different, but when you are in season, how do you balance school and social life with all the meetings that you have to go to?
It's very hard. A lot of it's kind of like what I said earlier is just making sure you just have to plow through it. You just have to have the mindset of this is what I'm doing right now, and not think too much about the future, but also think about other things you have to do in the week as well. Like what I would do a lot of times is I would just go a few days in advance and look at the assignments I have to get done, and then try to fit in times between classes and between football meetings in those few days that I could get those assignments done before they were due. And then what's really great is when you can find a way to get all that done before practice, because then after practice, then you can hang out, which is hard to do sometimes, but I would say that was always my method.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so can you take us through a hypothetical week, like from Monday through Saturday? What usually, or I guess a quick hit or an overview of what the week looks like for you guys
Yeah.
in general or on special teams?
Yeah. So I guess just in terms of just a regular football schedule, what the week looks like in the fall is you start out with your Monday. Your Monday is going to start out with weights in the morning. They have 3 different time slots. There's the 6 a.m., the 7 a.m., and the 8 a.m. That all depends off of your class schedule. So if you had a 8:15 class, you knew you're going to be getting the 6 a.m. weights. So that was always, I always had the 6 a.m. weights. So I kind of got the unlucky side. But after that, you just go from there to whatever classes you have for that day. And then meetings will start at like 2:45, 2:50, somewhere in there. And on Mondays, practice was a little bit shorter. And we would have running after practice on Mondays. And then
Enjoy running, or was it awful?
it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It wasn't fun, but I will say in terms of in season, they don't go too hard on us on the running, which is kind of nice.
They bring the hammer though for the off.
Yeah, the off season there's no mercy, but and then on Tuesday is basically the same thing just without weights. And then on Tuesday it would alternate. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday they would alternate whether they were doing a punt or a kickoff for their special team circuit.
Mhm.
And then that was really the only main thing different for me. And then all the practices start with just like a 10-minute period of us just kicking field goals and stuff like that. And then
What's your furthest yardage?
my furthest yardage, I can hit from like 48.
Nice.
Yeah. But I think it could have been farther if I didn't have 3 knee surgeries.
Just kind of work it back.
Yeah. But
I'll come back eventually.
yeah. And then Wednesday is back to the Monday schedule with the weights in the morning, and then meetings 2:45, then practice. Thursday's no weights, but then practice is always longer on Thursday because we go through a lot more stuff. And then Friday, the way Fridays looked is, so your guys that were traveling and dressing out, those guys would go to a walkthrough and then meetings right after that. So it'd be a walkthrough at 3:15, and then when that was done, they'd go to meetings. Those that weren't traveling would go to another weight session on that Friday afternoon.
Gotcha.
And then after that would depend on how far away the game was. Sometimes we would travel that night. Sometimes we'd travel the next day. If it's a home game, we'd obviously just travel that day. But yeah, that's a full week.
So
it's actually,
you should bring all your own uniforms into their stuff, in their place.
yeah. So what we do is so for the Nixa games, we'd rent out like church buses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for the away games, we get charter buses, but since Nixa's not too far away, we would have church buses, and basically we all have our stuff that we're bringing in our bags, our uniforms, pants, knee pads, helmet, all that. We would have bags, and we would stick those in the storage component of those buses, and they would take like 3 or 4 buses and load us over there, and we'd take it to the locker room and just,
John's done.
yep.
How do the coaches respond to a loss? Do they just let you guys have it, or like, hey, we'll get them next time? What's that meter like?
I would say here, honestly, a lot of the mindset is, yeah, that really sucks, but we're going on to next week, which is nice because after a loss, you don't really need any extra. It is what it is. And I'd say Coach Epp for sure, whether a win or a loss, he's always moving on to the next week. Like he'll even say his wife, he tells him, you've got 24 hours to pout and then move on.
It's great, wise words.
Yes. She's like, after 24 hours, I don't want to hear it anymore.
And has there ever been a funny moment when you guys are being yelled at, per se, Like someone accidentally knocks something over or says the wrong thing at the wrong time. Can you share one of those?
There are lots of those I could think of. One in
Circle appropriate.
yes, no one in particular that I can think of is just a coach getting on to someone. Coach DeSoto, he would always.
He's kind of nuts.
Yeah, he's you can ask any of the defensive players. I was glad I never really had to experience that, but being a special teamer, we're on the sidelines, so we're not really involved with what the defense is doing. So the whole thing is kind of comic for us. But he would always pick out like one player. It always seemed like he picked out one player that he was just mad at that day, and his insults weren't just normal insults. They'd always be like very personal, and it would require a lot of like knowledge about the person. Like he would start calling out their high school and stuff like that, and it was crazy. But and that in terms of like coaches getting on to people, that was always the funniest thing. And then also Coach Hep, he would as much as he wants to claim he like knows a lot about kicking, there's some things he doesn't quite understand, and I always felt like he had his go-to sayings. Like his number one thing was always get lift on the ball, and sometimes it was funny because I can recall one time in specific that I had literally missed the ball to the left of the post, and his response to me was, "You just need to get more lift on the ball." And then I turned to the guys around me, and we're all just losing it. I don't think that was. I was like, Coach, I don't think that's what I did wrong. But
yeah. And what are the non-football related skills that you gained from the experience of being a student athlete?
Definitely time management and just dealing with stress, because there's a lot of, like in the fall, the schedule is so busy and there's a lot of things on your plate, but I think it really helped me to learn to just go one thing at a time instead of worrying about all the things that I have to do. Just knowing if I can plug and get one thing done at a time, that it's a lot easier than just stressing out about all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. How do your friends and family support you through the season? I know you mentioned your dad. Are there any other people?
Yeah, definitely. There's my mom and siblings are at almost every game, and my crazy grandparents that will make the 4-hour drive, even in games that they know where I'm not playing. They had a few of those where they would show up and I'd be like, "You guys are crazy." But that was always fun.
And do you have any personal traditions or routines before games that you know you're getting into?
I'd say the biggest thing is just trying to clear out my head and just focus on. I always play some worship music, just get my mind focused. And
go-to album, since we're in the radio after all.
Okay, right. I would always be a mixture. It'd usually be a playlist.
Oh,
but
I guess your top song then.
Right now,
sure.
I've actually been listening to a lot of Blessing Offer. He's a Christian artist. He's actually blind, but he makes some really good stuff. I like his new album. It's called Real. It's pretty good.
Check it out.
Yeah.
And then, how do you want to be remembered by your teammates?
I just want to be remembered as someone who always was doing their best no matter what was going on, and was willing to make whatever sacrifice it took. And that's the main thing. And then also just, I want to be remembered as someone who is a good friend to everyone, because I always enjoyed making friends with new people, and I just hope that that's a legacy that I kind of live.
And you are making good friends to people. What advice would you give to younger players who want to play in college?
I would say the biggest piece of advice is realizing that, like, I'd say the biggest thing is time management, realizing the time commitment that you're going to have to make to do that. But at the end of the day, also realizing that with as awesome as football is, that football isn't everything. Because there are a lot of people that'll come to school just only thinking about football and kind of forget about the other reason that they're at school is
the other half.
to get a degree and what they're going to do after football. I say that's another big thing that I would recommend they keep in mind is constantly making sure you're getting your work done, and then also staying on top of your class scheduling too, because that's something that a lot of people can fall away from. They're not paying attention.
What's been your favorite off-the-field memory and on-the-field memory from college so far?
I would say my favorite on-the-field memory is definitely the game that I got in. That was pretty fun. Just my junior year, my first game I got to play in. I was coming off of my second knee surgery. Both were ACL tears, and I got to get in the game, and I got to get a couple kicks and a kickoff, and it was just very rewarding, and it was cool to see the reaction from my teammates too, and how excited they were for me too. So that's definitely the biggest on the field memory. I would say off the field memory, I don't know if I have one in specific, but just hanging out with all the special teams guys. We would do stuff all the time, especially during like fall camp. We would always have the one thing that was our go-to was playing Jackbox games. So we would always, after every day of fall camp, we'd be like, "What time are we playing Jackbox tonight?" We'd always play a different Jackbox game. But yeah.
And so now the lightning round, you have 5 seconds to assign whatever teammate to whatever superlative I give you.
Oh, okay.
So who's the best teammate?
Best teammate, I would say Ty Gardner.
Ultimate team player.
Ultimate team player, I'd say Eric Williams.
Nice. Most selfless?
Most selfless, also I'd say Eric. Eric, he's always ready to deflect any compliments you give up.
The glue guy?
Let's see here. That's tough. It would have been Zach Myers, I would say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he done? Or
Yeah, he just
done it for now?
Yeah, he just finished up. But yeah, when I was there, definitely Zach.
And who is your locker room MVP? It might differ, but who's your locker room MVP?
I'd say Colton Brozini. He's always doing crazy stuff.
And team comedian.
That's kind of where I would go Brozini again. That was the main reason I gave the answer for the last one.
Oh. Best energy? The guy who's always amped.
Let's see. Devin Shaw. He's always trying to bring the juice.
The mood booster. Whenever you're down, the guy that just immediately shoots you right back up.
I'd say Zach was also always really good about that, of looking out for his other teammates.
Who is most likely to make practice fun?
Most likely to make practice fun. Let's see here. Coach Sweet. He's not. He's not a player. He's always just trying to make funny random comments to catch people off guard. Makes a lot of your mom jokes, but yeah, that's not a player. But that would definitely be who I'd say there.
And then for the final superlative, who gets the ox?
Who gets the ox? Wow. That was always a big debate because we have a locker room speaker. I would say Ryan Connor. He used to punt here. He always had a pretty good ox.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's great. And yeah, thanks for hanging out